Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. Now this video is on the signs of a good teacher, the signs of a good organization to study with, the signs of a good meditation group. Now the first thing to look at is spiritual development is about cultivating the spirit, the mental body. So looking at the teacher, do they have lifestyle habits which disconnect their mental body from their lifestyle, from their spiritual lifestyle? You have the way you live your life in day-to-day life, and you have your spiritual work, and the alpha tuning fork has to be your spiritual work. If there's too many resistors in the physical lifestyle, there's going to be a problem, and we'll go into the reason why this problem arises. Now, what are these lifestyle habits? In relation to the mental body, are there any habits that disconnect the mental body from the astral body, from the physical body? Because the mental body has to be in charge. So the moment a person takes alcohol, the mental matrix softens, the astral body, the lower astral, goes into control and or into type of weird autopilot, and the spirit is disconnected. It has no influence and will over the experience, what comes and goes through the person's mind, what comes and goes through their feeling, and so forth. So this creates a problem for the center of gravity of their view. Now, if they take drugs, their will is disconnected, and their spirit is disconnected, and they go into a lower astral state of delusion. So if a person smokes marijuana, then reads a book or indulges in some sort of media, that is going to have a deep delusional fabric which is going to overlay their view, their perception. So they can't connect to universal truth, because universal truth can only be accessed through spirit. So this creates a problem if they have any alcohol, drug related lifestyle problems. The next is music. Let's say they like to listen to music. The moment you listen to music, your astral consciousness takes over and your feeling goes into the rhythm, and your mind, your mental body sort of sits back and disconnects. There's a lot of subconscious transfer of information through music, not only the emotions of the singer, but the lyrics and the group consciousness that's accumulated around the song. So these will permeate through the personal truth of the individual. The next thing to look at is the environment that teacher lives in. Are they in an environment which the group consciousness of their family, their friends, their society is controlling how they think, how they act? Is there a peer pressure projected upon them to conform to that particular environment? And this will affect the unconscious view of the person. So we have all these factors which are controlling that person's spiritual growth and view. Now, obviously, when you're looking at a spiritual teacher or a meditation group, you can't know everything about the teacher. But after a short period of time, it becomes very obvious, this person's completely delusional. They smoke marijuana, they drink alcohol, they're addicted to painkillers. Their view of reality is going to be contorted. Their spiritual view will be broken because of their lifestyle. Now, people can intellectually and academically break down the spiritual path, but there'll be an element missing to it. Okay, so other aspects. Now, when we move from the individual teacher to groups, so let's say this person's a yogi, they're cultivating some type of yogic path, they wear white, they have a very high charge of a type of love or metta, universal love around them. and they decide they understand the teachings well, they're going to start teaching. And they form a group of people, of followers, around them. That group of people, that group of followers, if they're very, very devotional, needy seekers, they're going to be projecting very high amounts of expectation and energy upon the teacher. So what happens to the teacher is they're continually trying to raise above it, not let their ego bite, but as an unconscious projection from the follower to the teacher, anchors are being placed in the unconscious mind. And you can see this in the yogis of India. You look at their energy and vibration when they're young, they're radiating light. 20 years later, you know, they've got 7 Rolls Royces, and the energy field is dirty and contrived, and it's kind of like, what happened? It's all this energy from the followers. They're unable to metabolize and transform it. And this has to do with their vows of why they practice. If the teacher practices their personal practice for the benefit of the student, this cannot happen, because it pulls that energy through the student for the student's benefit, and the student cannot place anchors in the teacher through all the projections and cultural relationship between student and teacher. But if the teacher is just teaching and they do their spiritual practice as a thing for themselves, these projections aren't being managed, and you have a lot of problems occurring within the student-teacher relationship, and the group will anchor the teacher down and pollute the teachings of the teacher because of their emotional projections. These emotions, these devotional behaviors, these lower astral projection of neediness and want that the student has. So if you see this cultish behavior within the group, the first sign is if there's a picture of the teacher that everyone has to bow to, just run away, because that's totally delusional. When a teacher takes their picture and removes the picture of the Buddha and goes, you have to pray to me, or they give you an amulet with their picture in it and you have to pray to the teacher, that's a total delusion. No real teacher is going to do that. It's just unfathomable. You're a vibrational match to God. The Buddha mind is the fabric of you. Why would you project and give your energy to someone else? That is ridiculous. You're the master of your experience, you're the master of your mind, you're the master of your feeling, and your prayers activate and unite the lower with the higher of you, the vibrational match that exists within you to your Buddha nature, to divinity, to God. Everything in the universe is inside of you. You don't need to look outside of yourself at all, ever. The purpose of a teacher is just the finger pointing at the moon. It says, hey, look at this, look at that. And when you are given instructions on where to pay attention with your mind, you go inwards. You go into your own divinity. And you very, very quickly realize you don't need a teacher. And the job of the teacher is to make themselves redundant, that they are not needed anymore. So when this philosophy isn't being brought into the group, you'll find a cultish behavior will be established. And cultish behaviors, as soon as you see them walk away, that means there's a master and there's a slave. Now, this is very, 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 very clear. If there's a hierarchy, there's a master and there's a slave. If there's an equality, there's a master raising frequency of other masters to recognize their divinity and recognize they are a master. So there has to be an equality between every practicer in the group to elevate every practicer to their highest. If there's this hierarchical status of levels, it's not going to work. Now, in the beginning, there has to be a little bit of a discipline of, okay, you have to concentrate, you have to practice, you have to transcend your ego, bind yourself to your greater good, and you'll transform yourself and discover those qualities within you. So yes, there needs to be some sort of framework of discipline in the beginning. But there's a point at which the self-awareness arises and there's equality. So if I have a student who's has expertise in the medical field, I'm going to say, okay, you teach today's class on this topic in the medical field, because that's their expertise. So every person you meet knows more about something than you do. And if it's of spiritual relevance, you hand the power to them to lead the group and share their expertise with the group and raise the frequency of understanding within that group. So there's a few ideas, and of course you want to break down what is a cult and how to avoid cults, because there's no point joining one, because the cult takes energy from you, it doesn't give energy to you. You need to look at these laws very, very, very clearly and refine your insight and understanding into the group, which you've got to join a group for a little while before you get depth. Some groups you look at them and go, wow, this is a great environment, great space, but before long you realize it's a cult. And so the things to look for: behaviors of the teacher, behaviors and projections of the students onto the teacher, cultish signs, and so forth. And you'll very quickly find out that the majority of meditation groups have a strong cultish flavor. They're the ones to avoid. And the smaller groups are usually much more beneficial. The bigger the organization, the greater the corruption that tends to happen. Okay, thanks for your time, and see you in the next video.